Zwom doot 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 doot. BMO.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another BMO Creative crypto video. Kind of a fact about fiction, but yeah, mainly a crypto video. This one is about Zwarte Piet, otherwise known as Black Pete or Black Peter. So this is another traditional helper of Saint Nicholas, believe it or not, otherwise known as Santa Claus, of course. Everybody knows who Santa Claus is, right? In the folklore of France, the Netherlands, and several other places, Zwarte Piet is part of the event. Traditionally, Zwarte Piet shows up at least a week before December 5th and spies on people to see who is naughty and then goes and tells St. Nick. Then on the 5th, he distributes candy as well as cookies and stuff like that to well-behaved kids and punishes bad kids. The punishment part stopped kind of in the 50s and 60s, and so basically now he just spies and sees who's good, and then on the 5th, he goes with St. Nick and hands out candy and yummy stuff. The description of Zwarte Piet has gone through several changes over the years. The earliest known illustration of the character that I could find is from an 1850s book by Amsterdam schoolteacher named Jan Shimkum. In that book, he looks like a fancy-dressed black Moor, and as far as I can tell, this became the main description until well into the 21st century. So, since the 1850s depiction, those portraying the traditional version of Zwarte Piet, people now say is a racial stereotype and discriminatory against black people, they usually put on blackface and colorful Renaissance clothing, in addition to curly wigs and bright red lipstick. In the Netherlands, and to a lesser extent in Belgium, the Black Moor representation of Zwarte Piet became increasingly controversial since 2010. It was said the character instills a negative image of black people into children from an early age. Parallels have been drawn to, of course, American vaudeville and acting, where they literally painted their faces black so that they could pretend to be black people on stage and in movies and cartoons and stuff. Alternatives to the fancy black kid were tried out, and by 2021, a revised version, now dubbed Sooty Piet, had become more common than the traditional one of the public events in television, special films, all kinds of social media and advertising. Yeah, now they use a personage called Sooty Piet, which features the person in their natural skin tone. It's sometimes black people as well, by the way, but just whatever skin tone you are, that's fine. And then you put on, like, looks like you've been climbing in a chimney, like a chimney sweep, so you've got this makeup on your face that looks like it's just soot from just being dirty from climbing down your chimney, to spy on you and to give you candy and cookies and stuff. And women can dress up as Sooty Piet as well. It's not just guys anymore. The Zwarte Piet character is part of the feast of St. Nicholas that is celebrated on the eve of December 5th, St. Nicholas Eve, of course, which is the winter solstice. This is when presents and sweets are traditionally distributed to kids. The holiday is celebrated on December 6th as well. The Zwarte Piet character appears only the weeks before the feast of St. Nicholas. First, when the saint is welcomed with a parade as he arrives, to different places, you'll have these Zwarte Piet people dressed up, and they go around and they give candy to kids and stuff like that. And then here comes St. Nick, and the task of those people is to kind of like announce the fact that the saint is coming. And when the saint goes and visits schools and hospitals and stores and other places, they always have like Black Pete shows up first. A bunch of people dressed up as Black Pete, and they hand out stuff. So there you go. There's the drawing I did of this character. So of course your question is, why did you draw two ravens instead of a fancy dressed black guy? Well, the reason I did is because I did my homework, folks, and the original Zwarte Piet wasn't a black guy. It was actually two black ravens. That's why I drew two black ravens. See, based on the research I've done, the origins of Sinterklaas, or Saint Nicholas, actually goes back to Odin. And so Sinterklaas and his helpers is a type of the wild hunt of Odin. Odin is the ruler of Asgard and father of Thor, of course. If anybody watches the Avengers or any of those Marvel movies, you kind of get an idea of who Thor and Odin are, but that's not really the Asatro pagan Odin and Thor, but you get the idea. He was a very paranoid ruler and always wanted to know who in his kingdom were loyal and who were not. So on the winter solstice, he would ride his white horse, and which is named Sleipnir. It has 6 legs, by the way, and it flies. And so he's flying around on this horse, and in the meantime, these two ravens, giant black ravens, named Hugin and Munin, 5 days prior to the hunt, would fly around, and they would land on people's roofs and listen through their chimneys, but also listen to their minds and hearts and know who was loyal to Odin and who was not. And then they would go back and tell Odin who was loyal and who was not. The people that were loyal to Odin, on the 5th, the winter solstice, Odin would drop presents for them. The people that were not loyal, he would punish or banish. So there you go. It's very similar to Santa Claus. Santa Claus knows if you've been naughty or nice. If you're naughty, you get coal. If you're nice, you get presents. That's where it all comes from originally. So what I'm telling you is, basically, the people that are dressed up as Zwarte Piet are not in blackface. Originally, they are dressing up as the two giant ravens. They used to have feathers in the costume, but now it's just a fancy dress costume because feathers are very fancy, birds are fancy. They're not dressing up as black people. Zwart means black. Piet, or Peter, comes from the word Petros, meaning rock. And not just the stone rock, it's also the rock, the giant bird from mythology called a rock. So Zwarte Piet means giant black bird. That's where the original character comes from. The fancy clothing represents feathers. So, all of these people that protest and are against Zwarte Piet don't know the origins of this character, and now it's just assumed he's just a black guy that is like a servant to the saint, and now it's considered racist to even dress up as this character. And so people protest this character, but they don't understand that this character is actually people trying to represent the ravens of Odin originally. So you can thank the Catholic Church for accepting people, pagan Norse people that worship Norse gods. They're called Asatro people. They wanted to include them into Catholicism, and so they start transforming Odin over time into one of their saints, Saint Nicholas. They've done this with many religions. And then, of course, they have to bring in some of these other characters, like the two birds. Now it's a person that helps the saint. That's how it all starts. And over generations, people have forgotten. Oh, and by the way, the elf on the shelf, yeah, very popular in America these days, I guess, is also based on Black Peter and his tattletale ways. Watches you all holiday season, then runs and tells Santa whether you've been good or not. Yeah, it's the same character. Anyway, what do you think of Black Peter? Leave a comment below. So, that is going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe to BMO Creative for more crypto videos. Thanks so much.